Hey everybody, Tim Anderson here, aka Renfell, and welcome to the next of my book review videos. This is the second one I've ever done on this channel, and I am following up the first entry into the Mistborn series, The Final Empire, with a review of The Well of Ascension, which I just finished up the other day. This is book two in the Mistborn Trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. And whew, much like the first book, this is a bit of a doozy. I'm going to attempt to do it'll be mostly spoiler free. There will be some spoilers at some point, and I will warn everybody when I'm going to be doing the spoilers. But I also feel like this book has been out long enough now that I'm coming into this way late in the game, and honestly, most people have already spoiled this for themselves by actually reading the series because I'm late to the party. So let's dive in. Before we do that, I would like to ask you for a favor. If this is your first time here and you like the video, do me a favor. Click the like button, leave a comment, let me know what you like about the video, or dislike the video if you don't like it. It's all up to you. And of course, if you do like everything, follow along, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon so that you get updates for all the future content I do here on this channel, and stick around for all the other things that we do, like Lotro cooking in real life, and the various streams that I do, and Mondays in MMORPGs, and the Monday Musing show, and tabletop stuff, and there's lots of things that go on here on YouTube. So hang out, have fun, and join us in Discord if you want to go above and beyond and just come out and hang out with my wife, my brother, and all of our cool community members that have been here since the beginning, I should say. For a long time, since the beginning. Either one of those works. All right, let's dive in. So, um, I'm going to be giving this book, and you'll be able to read my review over on Goodreads. As I'm recording this, I haven't actually done the review yet, but by the time this video goes out, I will have done the review. So make sure to check out my Goodreads link in the description below for my Goodreads bio. I gave the first book a 5, and I said during that review I would give it like a 4.5 out of 5 because there was a few things that kind of were like, nah, I didn't like. This book I'm only going to give a 4. You know, it's good. I'm not going to lie, it is a very good book. However, for me personally, there were quite a few things that happened in this book that took me out of it. One of the things that I really disliked, and it almost got to the point where it was borderline R.A. Salvatore-ish in the sense that there was so much combat in this book. Now, don't get me wrong, the combat scenes are incredibly detailed and incredibly cool. Some of them are cooler than others. There is a scene, and this could be minor spoilerish, so you've been warned. There is a scene when and is doing this fight sequence, and she's basically way up in the air, and she comes down out of the sky, and like there's a couple of times she does that actually, and like does some stuff, as she's coming down and like just destroys the people on the ground. And those are really cool visually, but the problem I have is that they're so detailed that we're talking 15, 20 pages where it's nothing but combat, and that happens a lot in this book. Um, so much so that that's one of the main things that caused me to tick it down a notch because I love good combat. I really do. It makes a scene. But one of the things I really dislike about R.A. Salvatore is how much he relies on combat scenes to get through huge portions of his book. And I kind of felt like that was somewhat the case in this book. There was quite a bit of I just felt that there was too much combat, and the combat that was there was just so overly detailed that you're talking 15, 20 pages. I literally was just like skim reading. And again, I'm reading on the Kindle, so when I say 15, 20 pages, that might be different for people who are reading like the paperback or the hardback. But it's just like it's like page after page after page, and I'm like going, this is like the whole chapter is just one huge combat thing. And so I kind of skim read through most of those sections just to get to the cool stuff and find out, did someone die? What happened at the end of the fight? I'm like, I don't need to know about how many times she pushed and pulled a coin or threw coins or jumped up in the air off of this and pulled on the window and pushed against this and knocked so and so down. I don't care. Like let's just get to the point. So that was the one thing that took away for me. I also think that there was a little bit more existentialness in this book. Um, and there was a part where, especially with, I was pretty how to pronounce his name, Sazed, I'm assuming, Sazed, however you want to pronounce his name. Everybody's going to have different pronunciations. His character had a lot more face time in this book, and there was just a lot of internalization going on. Same thing with Vin, and even pretty much every main character in this series, in this particular book, had a lot of word count dedicated to just the internal monologues of what's going on. And I kind of feel like, as much as Brandon Sanderson's strength lies in really good fight scenes, although they need to be shorter, and really good dialogue when there's multiple characters in a scene, he he goes on way too much and for way too long in these inner monologue sections, which kind of gets to, I feel like this might be the trap of looking at Robert Jordan's work, where just having descriptions, like, I don't need to know how many ivy leaves are on the crown molding of the house. You know what I mean? Like, there's just some detail is great, a lot of detail is good. Too much detail can be a detriment, and I kind of lost it in a few spots where the characters were just going on these inner monologues for like 10 pages, and it was like, okay, come on, I get it. You feel sad. I get it. You're worried about this. I get it. You feel this way. Personal opinion only. Which is why at the end of the day I said, 3.5 or 4. I still think it's a 4 out of 5 for me, because it is still a highly enjoyable book. It was a great follow up to the first novel. Um, the one thing that was a lot different with this book is there wasn't nearly as many plot twists. The first book, that was one of the things I talked about, was like, there was just, I felt like Sanderson was just like showing off at some point, just like flexing about, look at all my cool ideas, because he was just like throwing this, that, and the other, and all these things into it, and they were all really cool things. This book didn't do that, and I was very grateful for that, because it allowed us to just kind of get into the characters more. And now that we've had everything explained to us in terms of the magic system and the politics and everything else, we were able to move on to the greater theme of this book, which is obviously, spoiler alert, you've been warned, the war that's going on, this attack that's coming against their home city. Um, the one plot twist that I will say I kind of suspected, but, well, I guess there was two plot. Well, it's one plot twist that's carried into multiple things. So this is where I am going to be getting into spoiler territory here. So you've been warned. I'm going to give you a few seconds of dead space here, to, if you want to fast forward or something. All right, so you have been warned. Spoiler territory is now here. So one of the plot twists is that the whatever was in the Well of Ascension, um, was something bad, right? And I kind of suspected that as we were going through this book, and especially because of the way that the first book ends, and when she takes out the Lord Ruler and he gives her that ominous line about how you don't know what I was protecting you from, right? Like, so you knew there was some foreboding there. Like, we knew something was not what we thought. So that I kind of suspected. However, the plot twist that got me, and I thought it was brilliantly done. And you get a glimpse of it early on in Well of Ascension, but it doesn't really make any sense until you come back around to it later on, which is the rubbing that Sazed took the of that steel writing on the wall, right? And there's that line about how anything not written in steel, you can't trust anything not. I don't have it in front of me to read you the quote, but anything not written in steel, can't be trusted. And as that unfolds in front of his very eyes at the end of this book, when he finds out that whatever it was that was in the Well of Ascension had been manipulating people's memories and manipulating, rubbings and writings and books and all of these things over the years, so that people thought that the prophecy was something different in an attempt to get freed from his prison. I'm assuming it's a he. It might be a she. We don't know what it is yet. That part was brilliant. Like when he's looking at the original and he's checking his rub and he's like, this doesn't make any sense. Like this isn't matching up. And then he realizes that's why it said anything not written in steel can't be trusted. That was brilliantly done. And I gotta say that was probably for me that was like the coolest part of the book. Was that revelation happening um, towards the end. Um, so at the end of the day, highly enjoyable book. 4 out of 5 stars. Um, I'm really looking forward to the third book. I have heard from multiple people that the third book is better than the first, and it's better than the second. I've had a couple people tell me that they've read the third book multiple times, and it's just really, really, really good. So I'm trying not to be overly hyped, but I am looking forward to seeing what the conclusion of this is. Um, that's also kind of one of the other things that I didn't really care for in this book, and it came to be revealed later on that that wasn't necessarily the case. But I'm not a big fan of books where the prophesied one and is suddenly locked into something, and everything they're doing is because they're the prophesied one, and then becomes a moment when multiple people think that Vin is this hero of the ages, and they got the translations wrong, and it's supposed to be a she and not a he, and but then. It turns out that all of that was manipulated. So, is the hero of ages really even a thing, or was that all just something made up to release this creature from the Well of Ascension? So that remains to be seen for me to see how that plays out in book three. But I was starting to get a little nervous because there was all this, of even Ben herself thinking, I am the hero, I have to save the world. And it's like, I'm not a big fan of those types of storylines. So I was really hoping that it didn't go that way. And it sort of didn't, but also it looks like as we get into this third one, maybe, but I don't know because also at the end of this book now, um, other people have powers now that didn't have powers when the book started. So I don't know how that's going to play out in the next book as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how Hero of Ages plays out and wrapping up the Mistborn trilogy. All in all, again, this was a very good book. Quite a bit longer than the first one. Also, the chapters were quite a bit different because the first book had really long chapters, and this one had some long chapters, but also a lot of short chapters that were like, adding beat notes to the story, which was very interesting because it was a kind of a style change from the first novel into this one. So looking forward to the third one and seeing how it goes. Thanks again for following along. And again, if you liked it, disliked it, let me know with the thumbs up or thumbs down button. Drop a comment if you want to. And of course, follow along, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon if you want to get more videos that I do on YouTube. Don't forget to join our Discord if you want to hang out and discuss things in greater detail. And I will see everybody next time, which might be in a couple weeks. It took me about 2 weeks for each one of these, so I'm hoping that'll be the case for the next one. See you later, everybody.